All right, normally I ignore comments like this, but if you're curious about how you balance a pretty serious fitness routine with a bunch of music stuff that's also intense, as well as doing it as you're getting older, like I'm no spring chicken here, yeah, I'll talk about it. All right, so in terms of balancing this with music, as well as getting an intense enough stimulus that you grow and get stronger, I'm worried about number one, preventing injuries, and number two, not accumulating so much nervous system fatigue that by the time I'm done, I go home and I'm like so zonked I can't do anything. I've done that many times. So I have an A workout and a B workout for legs. They both start with 2 sets of leg extensions and then 2 sets of leg curls. Then 1 set of the adductor machine, 1 set of the abductor machine. I don't do like the bro split stuff anymore where you're doing 4 sets of each thing. I personally found that to be too much. I couldn't recover from that, so I would get into the next workout and I would still be tired from the last one. And then I was just like too beat up all the time. It was too much volume. I actually saw more growth once I pulled the volume back a little bit and just kept the intensity really high. And even if I have to do these, and that means that I do less weight on the heavier compound stuff, that's fine. I am not there for my ego. My overall program that I run is like a push-pull legs program, very common thing. And then what I like to do is sneak in a little bit of extra arm volume on leg day. Just again, because I do respond to that extra volume, and I also want a little bit of a break for the legs before I do the heavy stuff. On this one, I'm doing a cable curl in the lengthened position. So I put the cable all the way on the ground, and I'm pulling from a lower angle. The other day, I'll do the opposite. I'll start from a higher angle. The single cable overhead tricep extension. Here I have the cable behind my head, and I'm extending this way over the top of my head. I think of like being kind of in line with the opposing ear. Next up, I'm going to do a hack squat. Usually the first set, I'll go a little bit lighter. The second set, then I will take it to failure most of the time, depending on how hard it is. These are tough. These are going to be very fatiguing. And then after that, I go into a straight leg deadlift. I have had a back injury, so I'm a little careful with how aggressively I throw weight on the bar with this. But I did notice by getting stronger in this motion, it did help some of my lower back issues. So, but that's going to be more individualized. If you have a back issue, it really depends on what the back problem was. In my case, this is cool. This seems to help. Yeah, but that's a whole other topic. And last, I added this pretty recently. I'll do a weighted hyperextension, and I put a set of yoga blocks underneath my feet, so I'm sticking further out on the machine. A guy at the gym showed me this. Then what this is doing is it's creating a longer lever that's making like a mechanical disadvantage. So that way I don't need to hold as much weight in my hand to get a pretty strong stimulus. And this absolutely smokes my hamstrings. It's great. All right, this is my B leg workout. So the beginning is exactly the same as the other one. I occasionally will add a windmill because I just feel like they feel good on my lower back, and I like the flexibility that this works. So I'll do windmills with a kettlebell, not heavy, not a lot of them. Then again, overhead cable, tricep extension, just like the last one. Then I'll also train the bicep with cables in a shortened position. So now the cable is raised up higher, kind of like eye level or a little above, and I'm pulling kind of towards my face. Again, at least for me, I feel like hitting the bicep in a couple different ways is helpful. Again, it gives me a break before the heavy stuff. This is something I've noticed. I don't do heavy like back squats at all anymore. Similarly, I don't do heavy bench presses at all anymore. I don't like the stress it puts on my joints. And I find I can get just as much bang for my buck with other things that are a little bit safer that I think work longer for people. So in this case, I use a belt squat, which I can go very heavy with now. I've progressed this pretty far. It's been awesome. And then after that, I will do a leg press because on this day, I'm a little bit more quad focused as opposed to the other day, which is more hamstring focused. And then at the end, while I'm on the leg press machine, I'll pull a couple plates off, and then I'll do a donkey calf. So in other words, I want to train the calf in an extended position. I found those like seated calf machines where you're training the calf in a shortened position. I just don't see as much of a response for me. Then the only other things I'm leaving out here are I generally, if the weather is good, will bike each way to the gym, which is about a 10-minute bike ride. And on my upper body days, I will be on the Stairmaster for half an hour after the weights. I don't do this after leg day. Sometimes I will do no cardio, or I'll do something a little bit lighter like an elliptical machine. This all needs to be supported by the non-negotiable stuff, so that means you need enough water. I make sure I get about a half a gallon of water with a little bit of salt in it before I even step into the gym for hydration purposes. I make sure I've gotten enough sleep. This is challenging in music. Sometimes I will give myself permission to cut things a little bit short, do a little bit less, but I try not to skip. If I'm really that zonked, I will pull things back because I figure something is better than nothing. None of this works if your diet sucks. I track all my calories for as much as I can with an app and a food scale. I get most of my calories from meats, fruits, vegetables, carbs like potatoes and rice. I try to avoid processed foods, and I'm not much of a drinker. So there you go. It's off-topic video for me, but people comment both here and in real life enough that I thought it would maybe make sense to say something. But anyway, if you have any other questions about, what I do or how to do something, I'm happy to answer them. Just let me know in comments.